It's the road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Africa, looking to qualify. Two qualifiers coming up against Lesotho as well as Benin. And coach, we're ready for you to do the official reveal of the 23 players that will wear the green and gold with pride.
So the 23 players for World Cup qualifiers against Benin and Lesotho are goalkeepers: Ronwen Williams, Ricardo Goss, and Sifo Shane. Defenders: Sidney Moby, Grant Kekana, Thabo Molosane, and Konsinati Sibisi, Aubrey Modiba, Siabonga Ngezana, Kuliso Mudar, and Fawaz Basadin. Midfielder: Tebogo Mokoena, Jaden Adams, Batusi Obas, and Talente Mbata. Strikers: Oswin Apolis, Patrick Maswangani, Ikram Reiners, Rele Bohile Mofokeng, Elias Mokwana, Lyle Foster, Tapelo Morena, and Percy Tau.
And there is a confirmation of the 23 players that will represent Iningizim Africa out at the qualifiers between Lesotho as well as Benin. And let's just give you a confirmation of those players once again. And we'll start from the goalkeepers. We do have Ronwen Williams, Ricardo Goss, as well as Sipa Chain. In defense, we've got Sidney Moby, Kulumane Ndamane, Thabo Moloisane, Nkosinati Sibisi, Aubrey Modiba, Siabonga Ngezana, Kuliso Mudawu, as well as Fawaz Basadin. Moving on into the midfielders, we've got Tebogo Mokoena, Jaden Adams, Batusi Obas, as well as Talente Mbata. And finally, your forwards, Oswin Apollos, Patrick Maswangani, Ikram Reiners, Relebohile Mofokeng, Elias Mokwana, Lyle Foster, Tapelo Morena, and the Lion of Judah makes his comeback. It's Percy Tau. Those are the 23 players that will be playing in these qualifiers for Iqambula Seningism Africa. And perhaps, Mazola, I can let you start us off in terms of a deeper conversation with coach of these players.
Yeah, I think I want to start all over the place, but maybe in line with the...
That's in the goalkeepers.
Start in the goalkeeper section. Coach, you must have been relieved to see Ronwen Williams.
Yes.
Start.
Yes, I was a little bit afraid because he was 2 or 3 weeks out. And I was afraid he couldn't make the camp now. But he's on time, he's okay again. He played last week. He will play certainly now the next game, so I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, and then in defense, one to highlight is Ndamane as well out at TX Galaxy.
And Newbie.
Yeah, and Newbie as well. And it, obviously this brings us to a conversation about a player maybe who's seemingly being kind of leaving the group, as it were, in Grant Kekana. He's been there for a long time. Is this the ideal replacement, so to speak?
Yeah, so first of all, I was a little bit surprised in the beginning of the week when Helman and I were looking at the age of our defenders. And we are rather old in defense.
And you did say this at the AFCON as well, yeah.
But the problem is now we have some younger ones that we wanted to see. But the problem is that you play qualifiers. You can't afford yourself now to do experiments.
That's true.
So they have to wait. That is one. Secondly, you talked about Ndemane from Galaxy. He was with the team, but he don't have a passport. So I hear the chairman saying in the beginning of the week of last week that I have to take more players of Galaxy. I want to take them, but they don't have passports. So I'm very sorry about that, and it's not the first time.
Yeah.
So
it happened with Pule Modi a few years ago, just after we arrived in South Africa
so
as well.
I think we have to look for a solution and to make a list of 40 players and send it to the clubs and ask them, please,
Get them
if there would be a call-up, please, those players need to have a passport.
So just to be clear, Damani has one now or still doesn't have one?
No. I think he still had to go to the embassy, or I don't know where you have to go for the passport. And then it will only be next week before he get a passport. And then he doesn't have a visa for Ivory Coast. So we have to, it's impossible. But those guys are losing a cap or a selection with the national team because they are not in order. We make the preliminary list 2 weeks ago. They know that they are on that list. If you don't have a passport, go and get a passport.
So if you're on the preliminary list, you don't have a passport, just get it in place. Because otherwise you're not betting on yourself.
If you have any ambitions to play
but it
for
means
the
you're not
national
betting
team,
on yourself.
Exactly. If you have any ambitions of playing for a national team, you have to have a passport.
You do.
I'm happy that you say that.
but perhaps this gives me a good chance then, Mazola, to segue into what you were speaking about with Coach in terms of, Coach, you said you looked at the age of your defenders and you thought it's on the older side than ideally what you'd like it to be. We know that we've got the under-20s that are going to represent South Africa in the AFCON. Is this also just an opportune time to perhaps for you to look at them for those international friendlies we have coming up in June?
For sure. I will try to maybe go and see a few games of them when they play AFCON, if it's possible. But again, this is minus 20. So I think it's a little bit too soon to get them already with Bafana. But there are other players. We talk about Ndaname, we talk about the central defender of Pirates. What's his name? No. What's his name? The young one.
Oh, Mbokazi.
Bokazi. There is other players who are on the list. But Mawasani is already there. So we want to do it, but you can't do it now immediately. So therefore, I will use the friendlies in June to call those players, to leave as much as possible the usuals. Certainly already the guys of Sundowns. I will not select them in June. I told already the club, I said, don't be afraid. The player stays at your... for you and to prepare the World Cup. So, but we will call other younger players, and then they will play. We know already we play against Tanzania, so maybe we play also against Namibia. So there are 2 games. Okay, it's up to them now, and I will use that of those 2 games to put those younger ones and see what happens.
So there is an opportunity on the cards for the youngsters come those June international friendlies for Bafana. And we take a quick ad break now. When we come back, we delve deeper in terms of Coach Hugo Bruce's 23-player squad. We get a look at the midfielders as well as the forwards. Inhlikane Africa Dzonga, just to refresh your memory in terms of those 23 players that have been selected to represent Iningizim Africa in the upcoming World Cup qualifiers. We play Lesotho out here at home in South Africa and then travel to Cote d'Ivoire to play Benin. And these are the players selected by Coach Hugo Bruce. Coach, we've spoken in terms of the goalkeepers as well as the defenders, and I don't want to delve too much in terms of the players that missed out on a place in your final 23-player squad. Let's move then and look at your midfielders, where we get to see a Jaden Adams, a man who's now been playing with Mamelodi Sundowns, make his comeback into your squad.
I think everybody knows why Jaden was not anymore with us. And I hope he learned a lot about what he did. And that was what I wanted to achieve. That he knew that what he did, you can't do that. You can't do that. When you have a call-up for the national team, you do everything to come
to get there.
So
the national team, coach.
So this is something, and I said it already the moment itself. I wanted just to show him, Jaden, this is not the right attitude you have. But his qualities and Jaden as a player, I like him. He's a good player. So he plays good now again with Sundowns. So I didn't see or didn't saw a reason why I shouldn't call up him again now.
Are you surprised that he fitted in so quickly? And
for me, I was afraid that he shouldn't play so much, because Sundowns had a lot of players. They play a lot of games also, but okay, but yes. He managed it to be a standard player for the moment, and therefore I'm very happy.
You want to speak, Mazal, on any of the other midfielders you're seeing here?
No, I think that's the thing I wanted to ask Coach, that all is forgiven now when I saw Jaden's name on there. And because he's been doing so well for Mamelodi Sundowns, when everybody expected him to sit in the stands for a while, take a bit of time to adapt, he immediately, because even the question we asked to Miguel Cardoso when Jaden was signed was whether he would bring him immediately, and he said no, he's got to earn his place. He gave the impression that it would take a while, but the very next week he was in the starting lineup and he hasn't been dropped since.
He hasn't been dropped since. And someone else also here, Coach, and I'm only touching on this because we know that on Sunday we have that game between Mamelodi Sundowns and Orlando Pirates, and you have quite a number of players from both these teams going into your camp, which just comes a day after on Monday.
Yes, I hope that nothing happens in that game, because you can't ask the players, hey, take attention because we need the national team. So yeah, they play for winning. It's important for Sundowns, but it's also important for Pirates. So I think if Pirates lose that game, it's definitely finished to be champion. So it's a very important game, and it will be very intensive from both sides. But if it stays fair, okay, I don't have a problem with that. And then let's hope and pray the Lord that there are no injuries.
Yes, we're certainly hoping no injuries there. Coach Hugo Bruce just saying for Amapakania, Sunday is the do-or-die game for them. If they don't secure a victory against Mamelodi Sundowns, they can almost kiss the league goodbye. So both teams certainly will be going hard. And finally, we move into one of my favorite departments when it comes to football. Coach, I always say if I played football, I think I would have been a striker. We look at the strikers that you've selected here, and I think one that stands out for us is because we know that this is a player you've relied on time and time again, but of late, there just wasn't that enough consistency coming from him. Let's speak to a Percy Tau coming back into your team and making your final 23, also having moved from Al Ahly of Egypt.
Happy that he moved. I said it already for a long time.
A long time, yeah.
The team he was, or the club he was a fantastic club to play. But you have to play. And I've always had the feeling that he was not on the right place. He had also, the coach didn't like him so much either. And the more games, the less Percy played.
Yeah.
And you know, this is not good for a player who don't play. I repeated already for the 20th time, I think, players have to play. Certainly when it comes to Bafana, the level is higher, the intensity is higher. So when you don't play for 3-4 weeks or 15 minutes, 7 minutes, you're not ready. And you can be Percy Tau or Jaden Adams or whatever, you have to play. And now he plays again with his new team, Qatar. I'm very happy with it, and I think everybody agree with me if I say that Percy Tau is a very good player.
Yeah,
and that he can help us. He can help us a lot to qualify for World Cup.
Indeed.
Yeah, I agree with the coach. He been saying this for 2.5 years.
Yeah.
When Percy, we saw a steady decline when he was at Al Ahly as well. But I mean, some do wonder about the quality, the standard, the level of the game in Qatar. But I mean, I suppose what you're after here is more minutes rather than necessarily the quality of the league.
But you know, the quality of the competition is one thing. Playing is another thing. And it's better to play in a competition that is less quality than not playing in a competition from high quality. So he's playing now. So that means that his minutes in his legs, what the level is. So that is good for us. That is good for him. And I hope to see Percy again in a very good shape, because we have to be honest also. His performances with the national team were not what we expected. And I'm sure of it, that the reason was that he didn't have enough playtime.
And Coach, just before we take a quick ad break, we just look at this 23-player squad you've got, and we're looking at the players that are based abroad. Only 4 of those. Is this you now just having much more faith in the players that you're seeing based locally in South Africa and what they're able to do in the Betway Premiership?
You know, I hope that at the end of this season that a few players are going abroad.
Join the
We
likes
have
of
to be
Sean
honest,
Campbell.
they play in a better competition, not all, because we can't say that the Tunisian competition is better than the South African competition. But when you see the progress that Lyle is made in the...
Even in the championship.
Even now in second division in England. But he made progress. So I think there are a few players, and clubs will not hear that, but have to leave South Africa to go and play in Europe. I know that in Belgium there is a few interesting few players, so I hope they can make it, because for South African players it's a good thing if they should go to Belgium. Belgium is a formation country.
It's a stepping stone to the top leagues in the
You
world.
go from here to then, and then you can make the big step.
Yeah.
Lyle is a good example.
Yeah, Lyle did it. Lyle was playing in the second division team, Westerlo. And then he came, they went up to first division, and 6 months later, he was in Burnley. So let's hope that happens with some other players, and that we can put that more in our team, that experience of playing on a higher level.
Indeed. All right, let's take a quick ad break. When we come back after the break, we hear from our friends in the media who are, of course, joining us out here at the SABC in Auckland Park. I know they have a thing or two they'd like to ask Coach Hugo Bruce. Do stay tuned.